Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today on the channel, we're going to be taking a look at iOS 16.5 as well as iPadOS 16.5. So this was released a couple days ago to the public finally, along with a whole bunch of other software updates. We're kind of getting to that point where features are winding down on these different updates because, well, here in a couple of weeks, actually, it's going to be WWDC, and we'll get to see iOS 17 and all the new macOS and everything. So, yeah, feature updates are kind of slowing down here, but they're still adding a new few things here and there in these updates. So, let's go ahead and jump into what is new. Okay, so the first thing we'll talk about is actually a new lock screen here. So, if we go into our lock screens, and we can scroll down and we'll see that there is a new Pride one right here, so you can tap on that. You can see what that looks like. We go ahead and add that into our lock screen. You'll notice that that is what it looks like. There's also a animation now with it, so it animates kind of like how the globe one does when you lock and unlock it. So that is pretty cool. I wish more of the wallpapers would have animations like that. Another thing you'll notice is this wallpaper actually behaves with dark mode. So as you can see, it actually changes right there. So you can see that's how that wallpaper works there. So maybe this will set a kind of thing for the future wallpapers to where they have more cool animations when you do that, and also act with the different lock screen and act with light and dark mode. That'd be pretty cool. Next thing here is an Apple News update. So now when you go into Apple News, you'll notice down here in the middle of the bottom section, there's a new sports tab. So this is, of course, going to house all of your sports news. So pretty cool. You can also tap up here on the top left corner, and you'll actually be able to select different sports right there. So you'll be able to see all sorts of scores, stories, standings for different leagues or teams or players and all that good stuff. You'll also be able to see your different sports scores, like I just mentioned, and there'll be different schedule cards that'll take you right to game pages so you can see different things. So you can set up your different teams right here. So if you go to right there, you can then choose your different teams to get it kind of personalized to you. A couple other things here to do with this update that weren't really in the release notes. So with Apple Music, there now are the ability to kind of see, it's kind of like how Spotify does it, where if you tap on an artist, you'll be able to see their shows coming up. Well, you can now see that here in Apple Music. And then if you go to a major big city and you use Apple Maps, you can scroll down on the guide section. You'll be able to see that information populate in there as well. Now, I don't use Apple Music, so I can't show you that, but those are some new features there. Another thing to do with music is with Shazam. So with Shazam now, it can read classical music, so that is pretty cool. And then the other thing here has to do with your software update. So normally when you do a software update, you have to have at least 50% battery life in order for the update to actually install. If you do not, you'll have to plug it in the charger and wait for it to get to 50% before it installs. Well, now Apple is going to let you install updates less than 50% of battery life. I believe the limit now is about 20%. There are a few bug fixes here that they've addressed in this update. The first one has to do here with Spotlight search. So there was an issue where Spotlight may have become unresponsive. So you would pull down, do your search, and the keyboard might not work, or it might freeze or something like that. So that should be fixed now here in this update. Next thing has to do with Apple CarPlay. There was a problem where podcasts may not load their content. So that should be fixed. And then the final thing has to do with screen time. There's an issue where screen time settings may not reset or sync across all of your devices. So that stuff should all be fixed here now. And as usual, the other thing we can talk about is the security contents of this update. And as usual, there are quite a few of them, as you can see here. A whole lot of actively exploited things have been addressed, so it's very important that you go ahead and update your device immediately. So this is on Apple's security page. This is where you can find all that information. It tells you what each different one was and what they did and who found it. So that is nice to see all these get fixed. But yeah, I would highly recommend updating your phone and iPad as soon as possible because there is a lot of these that were actively exploited. I believe there's over 40 of them in this particular update. And then if you want to talk about iPadOS real quick, there's really nothing to talk about because it is all the same features and bug fixes that we just mentioned for the iOS. But the only one, of course, not included on the iPad is the CarPlay bug because, well, you can't use your iPad with CarPlay. But if you do use Apple News and things like that, you will also get the Sports tab. But on here, the Sports is obviously over here to the left. You can tap on it and you can see all that stuff as well right there. But anyways, guys, that's everything new here in iOS and iPadOS 16.5. Let me know what you guys think about this update in the comments down below. And thank you guys for watching the channel as always, and I will catch you all in the next video.